My hair's a mess. Today is the vlog for May 3rd. I'm just noticing now the wind's blowing a bit, which is sort of unusual for such a warm, calm day that we had today. What a busy day, what a busy, boring day. It's one of those days where you just get saddled with a task that needs to be done, and it's not a lot of fun. It feels like a lot of work. It feels very thankless. It has to be done. And that's what I had to do at work today. It was just exhausting, and I'm not done yet, so I have to go back and keep doing it tomorrow. A friend at work has shown remarkable interest in my book. I gave him the manuscript to read. He is a French speaker and took a lot of linguistics classes in college. So he finds that stuff, the fact that I have a made-up language in my book that I actually wrote a lot of notes for, interests him very much. And he actually slogged through the first two parts of the book, which don't have this language, just so he would have the background when he got to the third part. So hats off to him. But he keeps bugging me. He wanted the book to read because he's very interested in language, and now he wants my language notes, but he also doesn't want my language notes because he wants to see if he can crack it. Because it's not a one-to-one English character replacement, such as the dragon language in Skyrim, which is just English with all the numbers filed, the serial numbers filed off, essentially. The language in my book is based on Japanese and Hawaiian and uses the Japanese syntax, sentence structure, and borrows a lot of terms and spelling from Hawaiian, along with a lot of just made up words. I did a lot of research, well, not a lot, I did a little bit of research on Hawaiian, which doesn't have as many letters as English, but it does have one letter that we don't have, which is the okina, which is a little, it looks like an apostrophe, but it's a glottal stop. So the name Hawaii, for example, is actually Hawaii, and you sort of pause for that okina, and that's the pronunciation of it. There's nothing like that in English. The human mouth can make that sound. It's pretty simple to just say Hawaii instead of Hawaii, or Hawaii as it's typically spoken in English. But language is weird like that. Japanese has no L and no R. They have ra. They have a ra sound, which is sort of a mix of both. And Japanese speakers with heavy accents sometimes get R and L mixed up, which can be confusing when they want to go reft or light, depending on where their accent is. But I love that stuff. I find it very interesting that all these different languages have all these different pronunciations for different things, and things. Romantic languages are sort of similar, but English is a Germanic language, and so it has some Romantic influence, but it also does its own Germanic things. German and Dutch are both Germanic languages. And then there's, the East Asian languages that have nothing to do with either of those, and a host of everything in between. I think Arabic is actually related to the Indo-European language group, but there are a lot of African dialects that are not. Greek is technically a Romantic language, but predates Rome, so it's a weird one. He knows more about this than I do, because he studied all this stuff, and he's talked to me about it, but we were sort of talking about it today while I was working, and I couldn't, pay a lot of attention to him because what I was doing was taking up so much of my time and focus. But it's weird to see people actually get interested in this thing that you've devoted so much of your time. You know, it took me 3 years to write this book, and I sent it when I was finished with the first manuscript. I sent it off, and I think 2 people actually came back and said that they did read it. And I still to this day have never gotten any sort of like notes on what people thought, what areas seem strong, what areas seem weak, which just makes me think the book is boring because people aren't finishing it, and so they don't have a lot of thoughts. I don't know. I haven't been filled with the need to go back and hack it down to the point where I could get it published. Maybe I'll do that on my 2-month break this year, but I really just want to sort of veg out on my 2-month break this year. It's going to be nice. It's going to be right in the middle of May to the middle of July, or maybe the end of July, depending on how things line up. And I need to trim my beard. Well, I've had 5 minutes and I don't really have that much else to say today. So I'm tired. I've been Eric Spornitz, and now he's telling me some stuff too. I'm Eric Spornitz, and tomorrow will be better.